What if I told you that one small decision, something you could make right now before this video even ends, might determine whether you retire wealthy or spend the rest of your life worrying about money? What if I told you this decision doesn't depend on luck, a fancy degree, or even a six-figure job? It's something far simpler, something so ordinary that most people overlook it completely. The truth is, your entire financial future could change with the same amount of money you probably spend on coffee, takeout, or a streaming subscription every month. It sounds almost too simple, right? But sometimes, the simplest actions create the most powerful results, if you understand how to use them. My name is Mike, and this is Mike Compound, where we break down the real, actionable steps that ordinary people can take to build extraordinary wealth. If you want to escape financial stress, learn how money actually grows, and start making your cash work for you instead of the other way around, you're in the right place. Make sure to subscribe, because today's topic might just shift the way you think about money forever. Recent surveys show that most Americans can't access even $1 in an emergency. Let's start with a reality that might surprise or even shock you. Take a second to imagine that. Half the country, people with jobs, families, and seemingly normal lives, are living one unexpected bill away from financial disaster. A single car repair, a medical expense, or a broken appliance could send them spiraling into debt. And it's not just people with low incomes. Even those with college degrees, stable jobs, and middle-class lifestyles are caught in the same cycle. They earn money, they spend it, and then they start all over again next month, trapped in an endless loop where their hard work never translates into real financial security. They might have nice cars, new clothes, and the latest gadgets. They might look successful on social media. But underneath all that, most of them are broke, not because they're lazy or unintelligent, but because they've never learned how money truly grows. See, we live in a world that rewards consumption, not consistency. People chase instant gratification instead of long-term growth. They think the path to wealth lies in big wins, the viral business idea, the crypto jackpot, or the next hot stock. But real wealth doesn't come from luck. It comes from patience, discipline, and one small but powerful concept that I'm going to show you today. Because here's the truth. You don't need to make six figures to change your life. You don't need to become a Wall Street trader or an overnight entrepreneur. All you need is just $100 a month, redirected with intention, can completely alter your financial destiny. That's what this video is about. By the end, you'll understand not only how that's possible, but why it works, and how it can turn even the smallest amount of money into long-term wealth. So grab a coffee, sit back, and let's break down how something as ordinary as $100 a month can reshape your future in ways most people never imagine. Let's talk about that number, $100. It doesn't sound like much, does it? In a world where everything feels expensive, where rent, gas, and groceries keep climbing, $100 can disappear in the blink of an eye. Dinner out with friends, a few online orders, a couple of monthly subscriptions, and it's gone. That's what makes this idea so powerful. Because the real question isn't whether you have $100, but what you choose to do with it. Most people underestimate what small amounts can do when they're used intentionally. They think wealth requires big investments, huge salaries, or perfect timing. But in reality, the difference between those who struggle financially and those who quietly build wealth often comes down to something far less dramatic: consistency. Here's the simple truth. If you can save $100 every single month, you immediately move ahead of more than 60% of people around you. That alone puts you in a stronger financial position than the majority of your peers. Not because $100 is a massive amount, it's not, but because most people never develop the discipline to save anything at all. Think about that for a moment. If you make a conscious decision to set aside what others casually spend, you're already separating yourself from the crowd. You're choosing purpose over impulse. You're turning your money into a tool for freedom instead of letting it vanish through mindless consumption. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Mike, how can just $100 possibly change anything? It's barely a drop in the bucket. I get it. It's easy to feel like small efforts don't matter when we live in a world obsessed with instant success. But the wealthy understand something most people don't. Money grows exponentially, not linearly. It doesn't just add up, it multiplies quietly over time. That's the hidden power behind compound growth. And it's the exact same force that can turn your $100 habit into hundreds of thousands of dollars in the future. But before we get into the math, let's pause for a second. Because what we're really talking about here isn't just numbers, it's mindset. When you commit to saving that 100, something shifts inside you. You begin paying attention. You become more intentional. You stop letting your emotions control your wallet. And that change, that small internal switch, is what separates those who stay broke from those who build wealth. Saving $100 a month might not sound exciting. It's not flashy and it doesn't go viral on TikTok. But it works, because every time you make that transfer, you're not just saving money. You're building discipline, momentum, and self-respect. You're proving to yourself that you can control your financial future. So the next time you think, it's just $100, remember this. That single habit could be the reason your future self never has to worry about money again. It's not about the amount, it's about the direction. And once you start, the possibilities begin to multiply. By now you might be thinking, okay, Mike, I get it. Saving $100 a month sounds smart, but where am I supposed to find that extra money? And honestly, that's a fair question. Because for most people, it's not that they don't want to save. It's that every dollar already feels spoken for. But here's the truth. Almost everyone can find $100. It's just a matter of being intentional, of shifting from, I can't afford to save, to, how can I make this happen? There are two main ways to free up that $100. Spend less or earn more. The most successful people often do both. Let's start with the first one, spending less. You'd be surprised how much money slips through your fingers every single month without you even realizing it. Recurring payments, subscriptions, and small daily habits quietly drain your account. Coffee runs, impulse online shopping, random fast food orders, they add up faster than you think. Start by looking at your fixed costs, those automatic charges that happen every month. Insurance, your phone bill, internet, streaming services, all of it. Most people pay way more than they need to because they've never taken the time to compare prices or negotiate. Companies count on that laziness. A few phone calls and some quick research could easily save you $50 to $100 a month, just like that. Next, do a subscription audit. Open your bank statement and highlight every recurring charge. You might be shocked to find you're still paying for things you barely use. An old gym membership, an extra streaming platform, an app you forgot to cancel. Cut the ones that don't add real value. That's money you can redirect toward your future instead of wasting it on autopilot. And don't underestimate the small daily expenses. The $5 coffee you grab every morning, that's $150 a month. Lunch out 3 times a week, that's another $100. By cooking more at home, making coffee yourself, or packing lunch a few days a week, you can save far more than $100 without even touching your quality of life. Now let's flip the script. What about earning more? We live in a time when opportunities to make extra income are everywhere. Freelancing, online tutoring, delivery apps, selling digital products, starting a small side hustle, you name it. You just need to find a simple way to generate an extra $100 to $200 a month and dedicate it fully to investing. You don't need to build $1 million business. It could be as small as monetizing a hobby, offering a local service, or turning a weekend skill into extra cash. The method doesn't matter nearly as much as the commitment. Because when you prove to yourself that you can earn or save an extra $100 intentionally, that's when things start to change. You begin to realize something powerful. Building wealth isn't about luck or timing. It's about choices. It's about using what you have right now to create what you want later. So whether your $100 comes from cutting expenses or increasing income, the result is the same. You've taken control. You've created financial space where there was none before. And that single step might just be the most important one you ever take toward freedom. Now that you've found your $100, it's time to see what happens when that money starts working for you. Because this is where the real magic begins. This is where your mindset shifts from being a spender to becoming an investor. And once that switch flips, your financial life will never look the same again. Let's imagine you invest that $100 every month into the stock market. At first, it feels small, slow even. You might look at your balance after a few months and think, that's it? But that's because you're only seeing the surface. What's happening underneath is far more powerful, and it's called compound growth. Compound growth is when your money earns returns, and then those returns start earning their own returns. It's like a snowball rolling down a hill, small at first, but growing larger and faster with every turn. It's quiet, invisible, and deceptively simple. But over time, it becomes unstoppable. Let's break it down with real numbers. If you invest $100 every month for 10 years, assuming an average market return, you'll contribute a total of $12,000. But your account won't show $12,000. It'll show around $18,000. That extra $6,000? That's your money working for you, earning while you sleep. Now, $6,000 might not sound life-changing yet, but that's just the beginning of the curve. Because compound growth doesn't move in a straight line, it accelerates. Stretch that same plan over 40 years and your total contributions would be $48,000, but your account balance? Over $3,000. You only put in $48K. The market created more than $3K for you. That's not luck. That's the exponential force of time and consistency. Albert Einstein allegedly called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. And for good reason. He said, those who understand it, earn it. Those who don't, pay it. Most people are on the paying side, through credit cards, debt, and loans that grow against them every month. But when you start investing, you flip to the earning side. And suddenly, time becomes your greatest ally. Think of it this way. In the early years, your progress feels slow. A 10% return on $5,000 is only fun. Not bad, but not thrilling either. But later, that same 10% on $100,000 turns into $10,000. And when your portfolio hits $300,000, a single good year could earn you $30,000 without lifting a finger. That's when you realize your money has officially started working harder than you ever could. This is why the wealthy treat investing like a non-negotiable. They understand there's a limit to how much you can earn with your time and energy, but no limit to how much your money can earn once it's compounding. The longer your money stays invested, the more unstoppable it becomes. That's why the difference between starting at age 25 and 35 isn't just 10 years. It's hundreds of thousands of dollars in lost growth. Every year you wait, you're not just losing a single contribution. You're losing decades of potential compounding. Here's the beautiful part. You don't have to be a math genius or a Wall Street trader to benefit. You just have to start and then stay consistent. Because compounding doesn't reward the smartest investor. It rewards the longest investor. So when you think about that $100, don't focus on what it is today. Focus on what it becomes, month after month, year after year, quietly multiplying in the background of your life. That's not magic. That's math. And it's the single most powerful force in personal finance when you know how to use it. Here's the part no one wants to talk about. The hardest part of building wealth isn't the math. It's not understanding the stock market or choosing the perfect investment. The hardest part, the real challenge, is staying consistent when life tries to pull you in the opposite direction. Because once you decide to invest that $100 every month, you're going to be tested. There will be weekends when your friends are planning trips, sales on things you want but don't need, or moments where you tell yourself, I'll skip this month and catch up later. And that's where most people fail. Not because they don't have the money, but because they don't have the discipline. We live in a world that's built to distract you. Every advertisement, every app, every influencer is fighting for your attention and your wallet. They want you to spend, not save. They want you to feel like you're missing out if you don't buy something right now. But building wealth requires doing the exact opposite, saying no to instant gratification so you can say yes to long-term freedom. And here's the secret wealthy people understand. Discipline doesn't come from willpower. It comes from systems. You can't rely on motivation. It fades. But a system stays in place even when you don't feel like it. That's why the smartest investors automate their investing. They set up automatic transfers that move $100 into their investment account every single month, no matter what. They treat it like any other essential bill, rent, utilities, or groceries. Because when you pay yourself first, you remove the temptation to spend what should be invested. You stop asking yourself, can I afford to invest this month? And start assuming, of course I will. It's automatic. Over time, something incredible happens. You stop feeling like you're losing that 100. Instead, you start to feel excited every time it leaves your account, because you know exactly where it's going and what it's building for you. You begin to see your balance rise month after month, even when you're not doing anything. And that momentum becomes addictive, in the best way possible. Before you know it, you start wanting to invest more. You find yourself cutting unnecessary spending just to watch your investments grow faster. You might redirect a tax refund, a raise, or even your side hustle profits straight into your account, not because you have to, but because you want to. That's how real wealth is built, through quiet, consistent discipline that compounds just like your money does. Each decision reinforces the next, until saving and investing aren't things you do, but part of who you are. That's the foundation of freedom. Because financial independence isn't about how much money you make, it's about how much control you have over your decisions. And discipline is what gives you that control. By now, you've seen how a simple $100 can evolve from spare change into a life-changing force. But here's the part that truly separates those who dream about financial freedom from those who actually reach it. They don't stop at saving. They turn saving into thriving. Because once you begin this journey, it's no longer just about the money. It's about who you become in the process. You start seeing your finances differently, not as a source of stress or limitation, but as a system that works quietly in your favor. You become the kind of person who thinks long-term, who values time over trends, who understands that real success doesn't come from chasing quick wins, but from consistent, intelligent action over time. When you save and invest regularly, something changes in your mindset. You start noticing opportunities that most people overlook. Maybe it's a chance to switch jobs for long-term growth instead of short-term comfort. Maybe it's the confidence to start a business, to buy that rental property, or to take a calculated risk because you have a financial cushion behind you. Money gives you options, and options create freedom. That's what most people miss. They think wealth is about cars, vacations, or fancy houses. It's not. It's about peace. It's about waking up and realizing you're not trapped by your bills, your job, or your next paycheck. It's about the quiet confidence of knowing you could stop working for a while, and your life wouldn't fall apart. That's what $100 a month can lead to when you give it time to grow. But let's be clear, this isn't some get-rich-quick strategy. You're not going to turn $100 into millions overnight. This is the long game. And the people who win at this game are the ones who stay consistent, especially when others quit. Markets will go up. They'll go down. You'll have months when your portfolio looks amazing, and others when it feels like you're moving backward. But that's just noise. Because over the long term, history has always rewarded the patient investor. The S&P 500 has averaged over 10% annually for decades, despite recessions, wars, pandemics, and uncertainty. Every single time, those who stayed in the game came out stronger. That's why the real key isn't timing the market, it's time in the market. The moment you start, you're giving yourself a gift that compounds quietly in the background while you live your life. Every dollar becomes a little employee that never sleeps, working for you, multiplying, and creating opportunities you can't yet imagine. And as your money grows, so does your perspective. You stop asking, "Can I afford this?" and start asking, "Is this worth slowing my growth for?" You begin measuring purchases not by their price tag, but by their long-term cost, in lost opportunity, in lost freedom. That shift in thinking is where real wealth begins. And here's the best part. It doesn't stop at $100. Over time, as your income grows, you'll naturally want to contribute more, maybe $200, $500, even $1,000 a month. By then, your foundation will already be solid. You'll have built the habits, the systems, and the mindset that make wealth almost inevitable. That's the ultimate secret of this journey. You start small, but you end up unstoppable. Because once you've experienced the power of compound growth, not just with your money, but with your habits and your mindset, you'll never see wealth the same way again. So if you take one thing from this entire video, let it be this. The best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is today. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Don't wait to have more. Start with what you have, if it is just that $100. Because the real cost of waiting isn't measured in dollars. It's measured in time. And time is the one thing you can never get back. So take that first step. Open that account. Automate that transfer. Let your money start working for you, quietly, consistently, relentlessly. You'll look back years from now and realize that one small decision, the one you made today, changed everything. This is Mike Compound, helping you turn small choices into big futures. And remember, your wealth begins the moment you decide to grow it.